is a third felony offender. Offenses: forcible rape, attempt second-degree murder, sexual battery, second-degree kidnapping. Sentencing dates are January 11, 1984 and June 2nd, 2003. Sentenced to a total of 50 years. Parole date August 1st, 2021. Good time, not eligible. Full term August 3rd, 2050. Is this information correct, sir?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. Mr. Roche.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you, Ms. Teresa. Good morning, Mr. Coffee. How are you?
How are you doing, sir?
Good, fine. Thank you for asking. I'm good. Mr. Coffee, my name is Alvin Roche. I've been assigned your case, and I will put some information into the record, and then we'll have a conversation, okay?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Coffee, you're currently 60 years old. Am I correct?
Yes, sir.
And you're a third felony offender.
Yes,
and you
sir.
just became eligible for a parole date through Act 122 of the Louisiana State Legislature. Is that correct?
Yes, sir, it is. I just
And,
found out
and,
about
and, and before that, you didn't have a parole date in sight.
Yes, sir, that is true. I didn't have no parole date at all.
So your parole date now is August 1st, 2021. So and you have served 21 years and a half on a 50-year sentence, right?
Yes, sir.
So right now you've served about 45% of your sentence.
Yes, sir.
So tell me about the programs that you have completed in the 21 years of incarceration.
I just started trying to do the right thing the past 12 years. I've been trying to get all my classes and everything I can get because I didn't understand a lot of things until I had to grow up mentally and physically.
Okay. Okay. So tell me about the last 9 years. What programs have you taken?
I've taken all the risk management. I've taken anger management. I've taken.
Okay, let's stop it right there. You've completed all 4 phases of your sex offender treatment.
Yes, sir, I have.
Tell me what you discovered and what 2 or 3 things that you get from that showed you that you were violating ladies and it was causing them physically, mentally, and emotionally, and actually ruin their lives. Tell me what you got from that and how long did you facilitate in phase 4?
It took me a while to realize that I was blaming everybody else but myself, like I should have been. I had to come to grips with that. I had to come to grips knowing that I affected a person's life. I took a lot of things from that person. I turned them into an inanimate object. I've
Take a moment.
I've had to try and learn to
Mr.
be a
Coffee,
better person.
Mr. Coffee, I
Yes,
see
sir.
how it's affected you when you first realized that you were a sexual predator.
Yes, sir. I have to live with that for the rest of my life. I
Okay. So let's continue, okay? Do you have a job at the facility?
yes, sir, I do.
And what do you do on a daily basis?
I work in the library. I also help clean a gym. Um,
What do you do in the
other
library?
inmates.
What do you do in the library?
I repair books and I help pass out books to the other inmates to help them. Somebody needs to learn how to sit and read. I sit and work with them to try to help them to better themselves.
Well, I understand that you're talking to a retired law librarian. I was a librarian for 39 years.
Yes, sir.
So I understand what you're doing. You're helping people discover information that they're looking for and don't know how to find it.
Yes, sir, I do, because we have different genres and I got to try to help them understand what they're looking for. They say, well, it might be science fiction, but it's not. It's a fantasy, or it might be a thriller, but it's a mystery. And I try to help them understand these things.
Can you imagine doing that without Google?
I've been doing it here without anything but just working, showing them and working with them daily. We don't have Google in here. We don't have those kind of things.
Okay. So you practice in library science like I did in 1969.
Yes, sir, I am.
Okay. Did you have full-time employment at the time of your incarceration? If so, what did you do?
I was laying floors at the time. I was a young man able to move around like that. Now I'm not. I laid floor for years, and then I did heavy equipment operator for a little while.
Did you start laying floors in California?
Yes, sir, I did.
Okay.
I did.
Did you pick up any vocational skills training while incarcerated to supplement your skill with laying floors?
We are not allowed to go to VOTEC with the time that we have because I have so many years.
Okay. Do you have a GED?
Yes, sir, I do.
Okay. Okay. With that job in the library, do you have trustee status?
No, sir, I don't.
Because of your crime, you can't get it, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Tell me about your transition plan.
Well, sir, I'm a shorter cook in a way because I've learned how to do things in here.
No transition plan. What do you plan to live? Or what do you plan to work if and when you're released?
I have a place I just found out, another place in Alexandria where other inmates live in an apartment complex. I just don't have the address at this moment.
Have you submitted it to probation and parole?
It's, ma'am. It will be submitted by Mr. Stelling.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay. Where do you plan to work?
I asked about that. It's just, I don't know yet because haven't talked to anybody. With my skills, I just have to see what they will accept me with, knowing that I can be a short order cook.
Okay. Has drugs or alcohol ever been a problem for you?
At one time, yes, it was.
And did it play any part in the multiple sex convictions that you have?
Yes, sir, it has.
Was it alcohol or was it drugs?
Both.
So what have you done to solve your addiction while incarcerated?
I've sought help and asked for AA and NA and tried to get a good support group to help keep me in the right perspective. People that help me better myself and help me get an understanding. If I have to go to a facility for a little while of a drug rehab, I have no problem with that.
Have you attempted to get any drug treatment or education while incarcerated?
Well, yes, I have.
Have you been enrolled and completed?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, so tell me, what program did you complete?
NA and AA, NA.
So those are meetings. Any
Oh,
substance?
living in balance and any other class that they had concerning that.
Okay, so that's drug abuse education.
Yes, sir.
Okay, have you taken a course called Louisiana Risk Management 1 and 2?
Yes, sir. I did take risk management.
No. There's another course with substance abuse called Louisiana Risk Management 1 and 2.
We don't have that here, sir.
Okay, all right. So, but you did take living in balance.
Yes, sir.
Okay. What plan do you have in place from your living in balance and your AA and A meetings? What plans do you have in place to keep your sobriety once you're released?
I would try to find a place where I can fit in with it's going to the meetings and help find me a good support group and somebody to help me keep me in line. Somebody that I can talk to when I come across something that might vex me or something that might hinder me or make me want to go to alcohol or drugs. Ask them to help keep me from that. That way I can keep that, knowing I have that addiction. I got to keep that in sight at all times.
Okay, you're describing a good sponsor.
Yeah, well, that's what I need, a good sponsor, somebody to help me be productive in what I do.
Okay. Why should this panel vote to release you early when you are a violent sex offender and you have 28 years left on your sentence? And every time you are on supervision you were revoked for another sex offense.
Out of all these years, when 20 years ago, 40 years ago, I'm not that same person anymore. I'm not the same person that come in here that was feel like everything was out to get me and I was doing what I wanted to do. There's been times that I've fell down and I've people tell me you're a sex offender. Yes, I am. I got to live with this, but I just need that chance to prove myself, because the good that I'm going to try and do, I got to keep doing that every day. Even though I may be knocked down, I want to thank you people for giving me this chance, because I thought I never had a chance to ever see the streets again or ever have a chance to do anything but be incarcerated. All I can ask is for that chance. I've made mistakes in my life. I'm not proud of them. I can't change them. But I wish I gotta live with them. I don't. Sometimes at night I wake up in the middle of the night because I'm in a cold sweat because I know I've done something wrong. And I try every day to do what is right. I try to give it my best, keep my 1 foot forward, because they tell us that you'll never be nothing, you'll never get a chance. Here's my chance now. All I'm asking for is that chance to prove myself.
Thank you, Mr. Coffey. Mr. Coffey, I'm going to read some information about you, some good, some bad.
Yes, sir.
And after I read this information, you'll understand how hard this decision is for the three persons that's sitting in front of you. Mr. Coffey, you've been at Raymond LaBoard Correctional Center since 2009, about 12 and a half years. And according to your information, that's pretty much when you started to find yourself and started taking programs. You were on supervision at the time you committed this offense. Am I right?
Yes, sir, it is.
You was on a supervision from another aggravated sexual assault in New Orleans.
Yes, sir.
And the Spanish Parish District Attorney's Office is strongly opposed. And I'm gonna just read you some of their remarks. A violent sex offender should not be released on parole after serving only 20 years of his sentence. He is a repeat offender. The sheriff, East Baton Rouge Parish, strongly opposed. Mr. Coffey has had previous forcible rape convictions. Repeat offender. Google search also shows sexual crime violations in California, not shown in Louisiana history. You have strong opposition from the legal community. Let me continue. You have a history of violent and sex offenses. Your first arrest was in California in 1991, am I correct?
My first, excuse me, sir?
Your first arrest was in May 1981 in California for assault with a deadly weapon.
I thought that was in
And,
Louisiana.
and that was not prosecuted. Is that
Yes,
correct?
yes. Yes, sir.
And then in September of that same year, only 4 months after being arrested, you were arrested again for assault with a deadly weapon, unlawful sexual intercourse, and you were convicted of unlawful sex intercourse. Is that right?
I think so, sir. I think you
And
did.
then you were paroled in 1983 in the state of California, and you were paroled to Louisiana. Am I correct?
Paroled to Louisiana, sir?
Yes.
Yes, I was paroled to Louisiana, sir.
Okay. And then the same year you were paroled, you were arrested in New Orleans, 1983, and convicted of aggravated battery with a dangerous weapon and aggravated rape.
Yes, sir.
In 1996, you were either good time or you paroled out. Am I correct?
Good time, sir.
Good
Good.
time in 1996.
Yes, sir.
And then in 2000, you were in Baton Rouge and you were arrested again for attempted first degree murder, second degree kidnapping, aggravated rape, and sentenced to 50 years.
Yes, sir.
And you've only served 21 years of that 50-year sentence.
Yes, sir.
Would you say with your history and the severity of the crimes in which you committed, 21 years is insufficient retribution for an individual such as you?
Yes, sir, I would say that. Yes, sir, I would say that I didn't have the knowledge. I didn't have the assist that I have now because I didn't think about what I did then.
On your first stint in Louisiana, you served about 13 to 14 years.
Yes,
What
sir.
did you do to rehabilitate yourself in those 13 to 14 years?
Nothing at all.
And you good timed out and you did the same thing all over again.
Yes, sir, I did.
Warden Myers, would you like to make any remarks, comments, or observations?
Yes, sir, Mr. Roche. You make all the points. He has done this time. He's taken some good classes. He's made some efforts, and I'm glad to see that. His conduct record, he hasn't had a write-up in almost 3 years. There was a fight back in 2019, February of 19. Through our conversations with Mr. Coffey, I mean, it's kind of clear to me he does decent, without alcohol and drugs. But I think you pointed out earlier, and he admitted that they were a big part of his problem. And I believe that, if the board does consider that he would, it concerns me because he seems to be a different person when he's drinking and on drugs, and not just a bad person that does terrible things. So I think he should be strictly monitored with alcohol and drug abuse if given the opportunity. But I mean, and this is one that I would say strictly monitored is a mild word.
Yes, I agree. And I'd like to see him get into a substance abuse treatment program. Education's fine. AA meetings, NA meetings is fine, but I think Mr. Coffey will be served best by attending a long-term substance abuse treatment program. And we'll see what we can do about that in the future. I see no further questions. Mr. Marabella, you have a question?
Yes, I have a question. I'm sorry. Mr. Coffey, I've got a couple of observations. I certainly appreciate the warden's comments. I agree with him. I believe Mr. Roche has done an excellent job in talking with you. I've got some concerns, and I want to express those concerns to you. You've probably heard this, that you've been in prison for sex offenses. Sex offenses are treated differently by the law. They're very, there are all kinds of different rules for sex offenders. And it's a real concern for us on the parole board. I hear that you've got a drinking and a drug problem in many people in prison. My experience as a former drug court judge realizes that 86% of people in prison have an alcohol or drug problem. I understand that. Those people, generally speaking, will commit crimes to foster their drug issues. But you have a long history of sex offenses. And that's a real concern to me, because I've heard you say, well, drugs and alcohol are a real problem, and I've learned some things, and I've learned not to blame other people. What have you done while you've been in prison to look inwardly about what you do by committing these sex offenses? I mean, your offenses are violent offenses. You're not stealing, you're not robbing, you're violating women. Tell me what you learned about yourself, and how can I be comfortable in believing you're changing, or what is it that you might be able to do to dig deeper into that?
I'm not that same person that was doing stupid things. I've had to learn that I did those things, and God knows I wish I'd have never done them.
Well, Mr. Coffey, why violent sex and not just armed robberies and burglaries and stuff like that? That's my concern. My concern is you go back to violating women. And my question is, what inside you has caused you to do that? I can understand robbery for money to buy drugs and all those kind of things, but you go back to violating women. Is there something in your life that you haven't tapped into yet? Have you had any sort of mental health evaluation or treatment of any sort?
I really don't know, sir. I can't.
You don't know if
say
you've
that.
had any treatment, or you don't know what the issue is?
No, sir. I don't know if I need treatment. I really don't. But I think I do need treatment. I think I do need to sit down and talk to somebody.
What do you think those women feel like that you have violated all of these years?
I think I wronged them in more ways than one, sir. I think I've taken every bit of their confidence in themselves. I took them and turned them into an inanimate object. I made them feel like nothing, like they were a piece of meat. And I wish I would have never done that.
I appreciate your honesty, and I know this is very difficult for you to talk to. I think you probably realize from Mr. Roche's comments and my questions that you're probably not going to get a favorable vote today. But what I would suggest that you really do is really try to do something in addition to the drug rehab and the treatment that you need, is to look introspectively into yourself and try to figure out what it is that prompted you to do those things and try to heal that, whatever that is inside you. Because unless you do that, you could very well go back out and sort of do the same thing. And we don't want that. And I don't believe you want that.
No, sir, I don't want that. I pray to God every day. I ask that I have the strength just to see each day. I want to thank you for this opportunity to speak with you, and I thank you for pointing things out to me that I really needed to look at.
Thank you, Mr. Coffey. I
I really
appreciate your conversation with me. Thank you. We don't have any visitors, do we?
No,
Mr. Coffey, is there anything you'd like to say before the panel votes?
all I can say is I wish you would give me the chance. I pray that you would give me the chance, but talking right now, I don't think I might have that chance. And I've been knocked down so many times, and I've always told you you're a sex offender and you'll never get a chance. Now I see that that's the truth. And I want to thank you just for hearing me out. I hope things go well. But I just gotta wait and see what you're gonna tell me, whether or not if I have that chance.
Thank you, Mr. Coffey. I appreciate your very honest comments. Is the panel ready to vote?
Yes, Mr. Marabella.
Mr. Roche?
Mr. Coffey,
Yes,
I
sir.
want to differ with you. You do have a chance. You do have a chance. You're not going to get that chance this morning, but you do have a chance. If you have listened to the panel, you need some substance abuse treatment. You need to look introspectively into yourself and see what is the root of your problem. Once you discover that, you know your triggers. I think your triggers are alcohol and drugs, which leads to the sex offenses. You do have a chance. You're just not going to get that chance today. But you have some advice on getting some substance abuse treatment, do some soul searching, but based upon a poor supervision record. Each time you were on supervision, you were revoked for a similar crime. The DA's office in East Baton Rouge Parish is strongly opposed. The sheriff's office is adamantly opposed. And quite frankly, 21 years is insufficient retribution for the crime that you committed. For all those reasons, I deny your request.
Thank you, Mr. Roche. Ms. Wise?
Good morning, Mr. Coffey. I appreciate you sharing this morning. I know this has been difficult, and I appreciate it's a great first step. But I concur with my colleagues. My vote is to deny for the reasons already stated, and also with the nature of the offense and that you are a repeat offender. The case notes indicated that you have a history of opioid use. So I just encourage you to do what you can do to get our substance abuse programming before your next hearing. Best wishes to you, sir.
Thank you, Ms. Wise. Mr. Coffey, I concur with my colleagues in denying your request today. I'm not going to dwell on anything other than what you and I talked about earlier. And I really do hope that you use this time to be able to look inwardly and try to figure out what it is that caused you to commit the crimes you've committed. I understand drugs and alcohol are a big part of it, no question. But there's something else deep-seated inside you that you need to tap into. So I encourage you to work hard, and hopefully the next time when you come before a panel, you might get a different vote. But today you have 3 votes to deny, so your application for parole has been denied. Good luck to you, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, let's start with, we have seen a lot of these roach hearings. We have seen a lot of fake cries, but this guy, in my opinion, he probably takes the cake. Let's just humor me with this. Watch this epic fake cry. Let's go.
I've had to try and learn to
Mr.
be a
Coffee,
better person.
Mr. Coffee, I
Yes,
see
sir.
how it's affected you when you first realized that you were a sexual predator.
Yes, sir. I have to live with that for the rest of my life.
Now, and you probably picked this up when you were watching it too, but then you go, just the certain things that you look for, right, in the fake cries, not only how bad it is, but he never wipes his eyes, he never wipes his nose, he doesn't go, it's like he's been practicing this. Now just watch how quickly he snaps out of it. That's the thing that fake criers always forget. They forget that when you are crying, you can't just snap out of it. But watch how quickly he does.
I
So let's continue, okay? Do you have a job at the facility?
yes, sir, I do.
And what do you do on a daily basis?
I work in the library.
You see it? Oh, yes, sir, I do. I worked in the library. There goes on. And I don't think Mr. O'Shea, Mr. Rebella bought it for a second. Miss Wise, I don't know if she's paying attention. But it's just like, it's hilarious. It's hilarious. Now, Act 122, the idea that Act 122 gives this monster, this serial offender, a chance of getting out is just criminal. I'll keep going, but I'll show you what Richard found. And I know Mr. O'Shea mentioned that Google said something about California. I looked at Google. I'm sure Richard did as well. I think that Mr. O'Shea, because of his stroke, mistakenly said Google versus something else because he was talking about Google with the library aspect of things. But I know Mr. O'Shea also did go through it, but it's even more what you see here. Look at this. 1983, forcible. 2003, sexual battery. Also the second-degree kidnapping, that's the same thing. 1981, all unlawful sexual intercourse with a minor under 18. 1981, contributing to the delinquency. Well, I guess it actually does target what Mr. O'Shea said. Are there any? So we have 81, we have 80, 81, 83, 2003. But it's a long, I mean, obviously it's a long rap sheet. And to think about just doing the math on the dates, he had gotten out in 1981 for doing that assault, and then he gets paroled in 83. So he gets a whopping 2 years. Then he gets out on good time, and then I mean, it's just, how can you possibly give a repeat offender 3 sexual offenses? 3. And the board is talking about, well, I think that it's just even the warden said it, it's just your narcotics issue. If you're sober, you're good. And I don't know, why do they come to that conclusion? This is someone who can never get out. How can you ever let someone out? Every chance he has gotten, he did something that included sexual assault, including with minor children. They don't get into the ages, but and it blows your mind. It's there's no, someone like this should never get out. He still is locked up. This hearing took place. When did it take place? What a last name, Coffee. It took place January 2022. So he's still locked up, thankfully. But I don't know when he'll get his next chance. But I like how they read the DA letter. But I hope that the DAs would actually show up for this. Like, this is important, just to have more than a letter. You got to show up and keep it. What do you think's going to happen when he gets out again? I mean, it's like, here's where it comes to my perspective of thinking, which is, you're flipping a coin, right? I mean, we already have here that every time he gets a chance, he go and offends while he's on like parole, while he's on probation, while he's on. So you're flipping a coin, and you're flipping a coin by saying, should I trust you because I want to give you another chance? Like, I just want one more chance. It's like, dude, you've had 3 already. What are you talking about? And he's trying his manipulation. I'm told that a sex offender will never get another chance. And then his final speech, he tries to manipulate them more. It's like, you're such a classic roach. You don't even realize how pathetic you look. And you want to flip a coin on him, because if you're wrong and he reoffends, which all the data suggests that he will. When I say all the data, I mean the Department of Corrections have their own reports, and they say that people who have crimes of sex offenses have the highest rate of recidivism. Yet, for some reason, the algorithms they use in Louisiana, whatever, says, oh, no, it's not. I mean, in this case, he would have a high risk score because he has 3 offenses. I'm sure he would, but why would he take a chance on him? If you're wrong, you can alter the course of someone's life forever, and there is no point to take that risk. You just cannot take that risk. You've lost the opportunity. And, you might say they're just being kind to him. They want to give him hope. You don't want to send an inmate back to feel there's no hope. For whatever reason it is, right? makes the warden's life easier to have complacent, compliant inmates. But we have seen inmates like this get out and get out and get out and get out. So we know that he probably won't serve his full sentence. He probably will get out. But as long as they're still doing these hearings on YouTube, we'll still be covering them. So we'll keep an eye on it. But let's go to another.
Classified as a first felony offender, offense forcible rape. Sentencing date August 21st, 2002. Sentenced to a total of 40 years. Parole date August 1st, 2021. Good time not eligible. Full term March 5th, 2041. Is this information correct, sir?
What, ma'am?
Thank you. Ms. Granazzo.
Thank you. Good afternoon, Mr. Myers. How you doing today?
Doing good, man.
Good. I can't hardly hear you. I'm going to ask you to speak up a bit. My name is Cheryl Renatza. Your case has been assigned to me, so I'm going to start off asking you some questions, and my colleagues may have some also. So just for informational purposes, how old are you, Mr. Myers?
46. I mean,
How old again?
64, my man.
Yeah. Okay. I did the math. I thought it was, you got a birthday next month. You're going to be 65 next month. And how long have you been in jail?
I didn't add it up. It's been a while.
Yeah, it looks to me, I think it's, it looks like about 21 years. Does that sound about right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
About
21 of the 40-year sentence. And you don't earn good times, but you are classified as a first offender. So tell me, Mr. Myers,
yes, ma'am.
have you been able to take any programs?
The only one I pre-released, the one I took, but I didn't take no other classes now.
So why have you not taken any other classes?
I took one. It was Asian range, but I was working in the chapel, and I went to go there, and the chaplain told me I couldn't take it because it wasn't. I was taking some kind of thing for like I was taken away from work or something like that. He told me, so I didn't take it because
That was at Angola or where?
No,
Where were you? Over there?
over here, Concord.
So you're a chaplain's orderly?
Yes, ma'am.
How long have you had that job?
About 5 or 6 years.
So, what you just told me was though that because you worked for because you worked for the chaplain or you did that work, that's why you couldn't participate in the other programs.
Yes, ma'am.
And so prior to that, the 6 years, so let's see, you've been in, so for the first 15 of your years of your incarceration, you didn't try to do any other programs?
No, ma'am, I didn't. I done programs in Angola, but it was different type of programs, but not.
Well, it was what kind of programs at Angola?
They had other kind of programs I was taking, like not some other classes like to go, like church classes and things like that.
Okay, faith-based stuff.
Yeah.
Did you belong to any clubs?
No, ma'am. No, I didn't do clubs.
Okay. So, well, it looks to me like you did do the risk management sex offender treatment program, did you?
Yes, ma'am, I done that.
Yeah, okay. Well, I missed that. You didn't mention that one. You completed that all 3 phases in 2012.
Yes, ma'am.
So that was good to see, but no other programs. What kind of job did you have before you became the chaplain's orderly?
I was a walk orderly.
Walk orderly?
Yes, ma'am.
How's your health?
My health is good. Good.
So let's talk a little bit about why you're in prison.
Yes, ma'am.
When I look at the your record, I don't see really any other criminal conduct. And I do see lots of certificates in your record for Bible study and such, but you're here for forcible rape, and
Yes,
there
ma'am.
were 3 victims, I believe.
Yes,
Is that
ma'am.
right?
Yes, ma'am.
And these were, well, 2 of them were age 9 and 12. I didn't write down the 3rd victim's age, but these were your stepchildren.
Yes,
Is that
ma'am.
correct?
Yes, ma'am.
So tell me how all this occurred. What was going on in your life? Why did this happen?
I was drinking and stuff. When I come back from work, I was drinking and stuff. And I would stay, my wife would go to work at night and I was home drinking and stuff after I come back from work. She worked at Martin Mills in St. Martinville. And I was drinking, coming back from work and staying, and I was with the children.
So you're saying you were under the influence of alcohol, but
Yes, ma'am.
this I believe, I think my recollection in reading the record is this occurred over, well, this wasn't a one-time deal.
What, ma'am?
This wasn't a one-time occurrence.
No,
Am I
ma'am.
right?
Right, ma'am.
So I still don't understand the connection between the alcohol. Did you know what you were doing was wrong?
Yes, ma'am. It was wrong. Yes, ma'am. Because I'd come in at night from work. I'd come in the daytime. I work mechanic. I'd come in drinking, from drinking, coming home and stuff. And I'll bring something home to drink and stuff at home.
So do you say you were an alcoholic?
At that point, yeah, because I done mechanic work and I drank a whole lot because I wouldn't run the roads. I wouldn't go too much to clubs. So I drank at home.
What
You
it,
know,
well, I'm still trying to figure out what made you do what you did. I mean, you say you drank a lot. I get that. You are an
Yeah.
alcoholic. Do you think you're an alcoholic now?
well, at the time I was drinking, I'd buy a fifth of liquor and stuff. And before I met my wife, I used to go out there and run women and chasing and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, one thing led to another. You know,
Well, my question was, do you think you're an alcoholic now?
now,
No,
no, not now, because I can't get to no liquor or nothing. So, but at that time, because I went, let me explain this one. Was when I was drinking and stuff, I had caught a DWI, and I had to go to AA meetings and stuff. And when I went there, and then you go to AA meetings and then you think you're straight. Then after that, you start drinking again because you think you done you done done all the program, AA meeting, you done signed the paper on the AA meetings and stuff. So I came back after I done all that, then I figured I was straight. I done the meetings, I done that, and then I started drinking again because I figured I done the program.
So what did you get out of the AA meetings? You just went to get the paper signed, huh? Because you had to.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, because the courts told me that I had to go there and go get the papers signed. I mean, go there and do go to these things, and if I wouldn't have gone, I'd have went to jail or something. So I had to go to AA meetings to get the paper signed, ma'am.
All right, so I think what I'm hearing you say is since you've been in jail for this crime,
Yes, ma'am.
you've not done any substance or alcohol abuse classes.
No,
You did the sex offender treatment. I'm pleased to hear that, but you've not done anything to address your problem with alcohol. Were there any other drugs involved besides alcohol?
no, ma'am, just alcohol.
No.
Uh-huh.
Well, I'm sure my colleagues will have some questions about that.
Yes.
So you do score as a low risk because there is some opposition to your early release. We'll hear from some of that in a few minutes. The only other arrests I saw on your record were traffic violations, like in the DWI that you mentioned. Why do you think we ought to grant you early release considering the nature of your crime?
Well, ma'am, I tried when I came here, I tried to do the best things. That's when I started working in church on being around people, helping them and doing the sound, doing different equipments and stuff. You know, I learned to deal with people and different type of people. So it made me a better person dealing with, understanding where I'm at in the situation I'm in. So I understood with the people I was dealing with, who different comes to church, different type of people come to church, younger people, older people. So I understand better now than what I'm doing now than before. Before I want to do what I want to do. But now I understand it's not about me. You know, I'm dealing with other people in the chapel.
So let me ask you this, and this is my last question, and then I'll defer to my colleagues.
Okay.
So what do you think, have you given any thought rather to what you did to your stepchildren, how that affected them?
Yes, I did. Yes, I sure did. Because when
How do you think it affected them?
it affected them a whole lot because they trusted me and I took the trust away from them. Because
All right, thank you, sir.
they can't trust.
I appreciate your talking with me. Ward Myers, is there anything you can add to the conversation?
Mr. Renassi, he has a good conduct record. He's a Strive member. He's doing the right things, and he has taken the sex offender treatment. But as you point out, and one of my concerns when we talked about this other day, he alludes to the alcohol being a big problem and has not taken any AA classes, and so I do. He needs that, and also if you notice, he is currently enrolled in the GED program.
Oh, good.
So I would think that would greatly benefit him to be able to accomplish that before.
Oh, great, thank you. I appreciate it. I don't have any other questions.
Thank you, Ms. Renassa. Do we have any other questions or observations? Okay. All right, Ms. Teresa?
We have one participant that will be speaking, Mr. Jeremy Thibodeau, who's the victim.
Good afternoon, y'all. Y'all can hear me?
Yes, sir, we can. Go ahead and tell us what you want us to know.
Well, just thank y'all for.
You need to unmute, sir. We can't hear you.
Oh, y'all can hear me? Okay.
Yeah. Okay, when you turn your camera off, you turn the mute on, so.
All right, I'm back. I'm just not touching no more. I'm sorry.
Okay, okay.
But I'm speaking against the release solely because, number one, according to paperwork, you're not supposed to be eligible for parole until 2035. And we far from that. On top of that, you've affected me as a parent to where I can't trust anybody around my kids, not even my fiance. So I had to send my kids to their uncle while I sit in my room right now with COVID. And so with that being said, I mean, my brother, he won't talk, but you affected him probably way worse than me. Because I used to have to hear you do that to him constantly, right after you got done with me. You knew what you was doing because you would tell us that it would hurt my mama. And it did. It really did. We would tell you no, and you would say just one more time, or it's gonna hurt my mama. And you use that against us, 12 and 9 years old. You used that against us because you knew how much we loved my mama. We had already seen her be hurt before, and you just came back and we didn't want that, and so we shut up until it was time to actually speak out about it, or however she found out, because I was too young to really remember any of this. I kind of blocked it out up until they called me a few months ago. I've dealt with a lot of personal issues, but you kind of killed my childhood, man. That's really all I gotta say.
Yes, I did. That's my fault.
Thank you. So Mr. Myers, is anything you want to tell us before we vote?
Well, you know, I know I messed up his world, and it was my fault. I can't blame nobody but me. You know, I know how he feels. So I understand. I do.
All right. Okay.
I do understand, ma'am.
Thank you. So panel ready to vote? Ms. Manassa.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. First, let me say, Mr. Thibodeau, thanks for participating today. I'm sorry you're stuck in your room with your COVID, but I'm glad you took the time and the energy to tell us what you had to say. We appreciate it. It's important. Mr. Willie Myers, I enjoyed talking to you today, and I'm pleased that you're able to do some community service work through your work with the chaplain's office. I am concerned, terribly concerned, though, about your lack of recognition of your substance abuse problem, and that you haven't had any real treatment for that. And as your discussion with the warden, I mean, he has those same concerns. So my vote today is going to be to deny your parole because of the lack of programming to address your substance abuse issues. And of course, because of the opposition we've heard here this morning. So take advantage of any program opportunities, reapply whenever you're eligible to do so. Good luck to you, sir.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. Mr. Maribel.
My vote is going to be the same for the same reasons. You have a serious alcohol problem, and you know, until you admit that, you're not going to be able to move forward. So you were in denial, is what we call it. So you really do have to come to grips with your alcohol problem and put into place a plan to make sure that you're not going to go back to using alcohol again. And it's a horrible disease, and it is a disease. And again, I also would like to thank Mr. Thibodeau for being courageous enough to be here today to speak to us and to let us know. My vote likewise would be to deny, but I would encourage you, sir, to try to get some substance abuse treatment and learn the AA, learn the 12 steps. It's a good platform to live your life. So good luck to you.
Mm-hmm. Thank you, Mr. Maribel. At this point, Mr. Myers, you have 2 votes to deny. And I too echo my colleagues' sentiments, Mr. Jeremy. I want you to know you are doing a whole lot better than you realize. Thank you so much for your courage to come today and your insights. You're doing a whole lot better than you think. You really are. You're a lot stronger than you think you are. But Mr. Myers, my vote is the same for the same reasons. Also, the nature of the offense, the age of the victims, and your relationship to the victims. For those reasons, my vote is to deny as well. Your
Yes.
parole has been denied today, sir.
Yes, ma'am.
That was just a heart-wrenching survivor impact statement. And you realize the Act 122 that was passed, that really the Louisiana Parole Project actually lobbied the legislation because that's what drives more clients to them. And in the verbiage, initially it stated that sex offenders and also armed robbers, or people who committed armed robbery. I don't know why, out of all the types of, but those two would have been omitted from qualifying under Act 122, which gives people the ability to have a parole hearing if they otherwise legally were not allowed a parole hearing, if they have served at least 20 years of their sentence and are over the age, I think, of 60 or 50. And I don't know, we don't know who, but those clauses were struck from Act 122. And now you have people who are getting notified in the mail or by a call, hey, guess what? Your perpetrator who was doing this to you when you were 9 years old, your stepfather, the man that you thought was supposed to protect you, is going to get at a parole hearing. And you can see he's like, it brought everything back. Something that he was able to block out of his memory, but obviously it has affected him so much. He says he can't trust his kids with his fiance. Now, why fiance versus uncle? I mean, the sad part is you don't want him to see all these hearings. The uncles are, scary to say it, but the uncles are, we see a lot of uncles. He served 21 years of a 40-year sentence. 9 and 12 years old, plus a third victim that is not mentioned, but a third victim. And this is what we know about. I had to have you hear. I had to hear you do it to my brother. After you finished doing it to me. When he said those words, I just, that broke me a little inside. Just can't imagine 9 and 12 years old. You know, and here's the thing. It seemed like he may have shown some remorse when he admitted, he said, yeah, I ruined your childhood or something. But I always come back to the point that I believe it's not like they get married to a woman and then some crazy thing happens and they become a pedo and they start doing these things. No, I believe always from the beginning, they select the mother with the children at their preference and age. 2 young boys, that was his preference and age. That's why he selected her. That's why he put in all that energy together for them. And if you keep in mind that reality, it's so sick, the idea that they could ever possibly see freedom. It's just abhorrent for anyone who has common sense. And the idea that now he's going to get up for a parole hearing every few years. It was every 2 years, but I believe they passed legislation to make it every 5 years. It just hasn't, I don't know when it kicks into effect. So the survivors don't have to see their victimizer. At least he was given a 40-year sentence. That's a lot for Louisiana. I don't know. Of course, Mr. Marabella, Mr. Renatz and Miss Wise, it's like they're harping on the AA. Oh yeah. Is the alcohol? Yeah. That's your problem. No, he's blaming it on alcohol. Alcohol doesn't make you do that. That's where they get it all. That's where they get it all wrong. I really love Mr. Marabella. I think he's great, but I think the problem is that he really, it's like he seems to me to believe that alcohol is the root of all problems or some like that is what that is what creates the monster, but I believe some people are simply monsters. And I believe he's just a monster, and the alcohol is just something else. It's just something else that either he blames it on it or yeah, he relies on it to help him get through his day, but that's not the cause. That doesn't make you go and find a woman with kids so that you can then have easy access to your prey. Alcohol doesn't make you do that. That's my opinion.
Classified as a first felony offender, offenses: indecent behavior with a juvenile, molestation of a juvenile. Sentencing date September 13, 2017. Sentenced to a total of 8 years. Parole date May 11, 2020. Good time not eligible. Full term September 12, 2025. Is this information correct, sir?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. Mr. Marabella.
Thank you very much. Mr. Stein, my name is Tony Marabella. I'll be conducting this interview. Your case was assigned to me. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Stein, how old are you, sir?
25,
And how long have you been in prison on these charges?
4 years.
How far did you go in school, Mr. Stein?
I went to the 8th grade in Baskin, and then I was homeschooled from 8th to 11th.
Okay. Did you get a high school diploma or a certificate of any kind?
No, sir.
Did you ever study to try to get your GED while you've been in prison?
I've tried 3 times, and
Tell me, you've tried, you've just not been able to do it, or what?
no, sir. When I get real nervous and anxiety attacks, when I get in there and I'm trying to focus, I'm trying to work hard, and there's a classroom full of people, and I get real nervous, and I can't focus.
Okay. Prior to coming to prison, had you taken any kind of medication? Did you take any kind of prescription medications?
Yes, sir. I take Celexa.
You were taking that before you came to prison?
Yes, sir. I'm currently still using it.
Okay. Anything else that you were taking before?
No, sir. That's it.
And you're still able to take that while you're there now?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Stein, tell me a little bit about what happened. Tell me why you're in prison. Tell me the crimes you committed that caused you to be in prison.
Well, there was this girl that I'd met through a friend, and me and her started texting and talking a little bit, and she started wanting me to come pick her up, me and one of my friends. So we started picking her up, hanging out a little bit. And after a while of hanging out, me and her started texting and hanging out by ourselves. And she wanted to try something new, and at that age, I was willing to try too.
How about the other one?
We got to talking on Facebook. Her sister actually mentioned her to me, and it just we was texting and talking on Facebook for a while, and she wanted me to come pick her up one night, and I picked her up, and it kind of just led from there.
Well, the allegations, Mr. Stein, are that you forced her to have sex in your pickup truck. Is that true? I mean, this is the time to be honest, because I'm trying to figure out what you've learned from your mistakes and where you are in your progress. So tell me, I need to know the truth about what happened.
Yes, sir. I physically didn't force. I've talked her into it, but it wasn't any kind of physical force.
It's fair to say she didn't want you to do what you did. You talked her into it. You may
Yes,
have
sir.
not
Yes, sir.
physically forced her to do something, but you knew she didn't want to do it.
Yes, sir.
So tell me what you thought about all of this while you've been in prison. Tell me what you believe. How do you think either of these two girls feel about what you did to them?
I know that I hurt them. I did some things that I wasn't supposed to do. It hurts me more knowing what I did more than anybody would ever know. I regret it every day.
You've taken some programs while you've been in prison. Tell me about those. What do you think has been probably the help you understand life better than any of the programs that you've had? What are some of the good programs you've taken, and what have you learned from them?
Probably anger management helped me the most.
Okay.
That and the sexual treatment, that helped a lot.
Tell me about the anger management. How did that help you?
It helped me to think about any situation before acting in it. Just talk myself to calm myself down before it gets overwhelming, and it helps me to think things through before I get angry.
Okay.
Before it
Tell
leads to
me,
that.
you also mentioned the sex offender treatment. You took all 4 phases of that sex offender treatment.
Yes, sir.
Tell me what you believe was most helpful about going through that program.
Seeing the messed up and the things that we had to go through during that class, it just made me feel like I was one of them, and how bad it made me feel, and how it makes it just the way to see people look at them makes me feel like they're looking at me like that, the same way they're looking at them, and it tore me to pieces.
Okay, I'm not sure I'm following you. When you say what you saw people looking at them, are you talking about sex offenders?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And do you concede that you really are one of them?
Yes, sir. I understand.
Okay. So how do you think it's going to help you in the future for having gone through that sex offender treatment program? What sort of things did you learn that will help you be able to deal with whatever happened to you in the past?
Well, I've learned how to avoid them situations. And are you still there? Okay, I lost you.
Okay, I'm sorry, something happened here. Can you hear me now?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I'm sorry, I had asked you what you had learned. You said you had learned how to avoid what?
Any situation dealing with say girls, women, anything that I think that's wrong that I can see. It's just I'm sorry, I'm nervous.
I understand, and that's okay. you're in a very nervous situation, and I understand that. No one is here trying to make you feel any worse than probably you already feel. So we're just here trying to learn where you are today, as opposed to the young man who came to prison 4 years ago. Okay.
Yes, sir.
So let's talk a little bit about let's talk about the first young lady. So that one was perhaps more of a consensual thing than not.
Yes, sir.
Now she was underage and you were 17. So
Right.
do you understand the reason for that being a crime?
Absolutely.
Someone at that age can't consent legally, even if they might practically consent. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
So how might you have acted as you look back? How might you have acted differently in that case today?
Are you still there?
Yeah, I'm still here. I
Okay.
don't know what.
It said recording and stopped.
I know. Is everybody still alive live with us? Okay, I think we're all right. I don't know
Okay.
what happened there, but I'm still here.
All right. What was the question?
The question was, what might you have done differently now that you look back with the young woman who was underage and you were 17?
Oh, if I would have never done anything like this. If I would have known exact her age and that I could be in serious trouble over that, none of this would have happened. I could have went on and I could have went and talked to my family and and they would have supported me in anything I needed.
How about the second young lady where it was less consensual than the first?
If I would have been I would have should have known, and I hate it. I'm sure.
You've taken a lot of other good courses. You've taken Thinking for Change. You remember
Yes, sir.
taking that course?
Yes, sir.
Tell me what you remember about that course, and just tell me in general. I don't need you to try to remember everything about the course. How did you feel about that course when you took it? What did it do with you?
I was mostly thinking strictly about the future and about what I was going to do when I get home.
Good.
Just thinking of better things I could do with my life than to be like I was.
Okay.
I just want to be out there working and being with my family. It just showed me what I had. And I lost it all. And it's just I didn't realize what I had when I was at home. And when I come to jail and lost it all, that just made everything seem like I can, you know.
Mr. Stein, let me tell you, you're a young man. You've got a lot of life left to you, and you'll be with your family before long.
Yes, sir.
And I appreciate you telling me the things you've told me. So what things from Thinking for a Change, what are the things you'd like to do when you get out? What sort of things do you think will make you a better person when you get out?
I would like to, go to work every day, work hard, do what I'm supposed to do.
Is there any particular field you want to go to work in?
Operating equipment is what I love the most.
Okay. Have you some experience in that?
Yes, sir, I do.
Okay. Tell me a little bit about that.
Okay, I've drove tractors and combines. I've worked in the field 90% of my life. Just everything that I've done has been on hands, driving equipment, moving stuff, driving big trucks, and I just love heavy equipment, and being able to operate that stuff like that is just what I love.
What are you doing there in Franklin Parish? Do you have a job, or is there anything that you do there?
Yes, sir. I'm a mechanic.
Okay.
In the small engines.
Okay. How long have you been doing that?
I've been doing that for 2 years, and when I first come here, when I was able to work, they put me in the welding shop, and I worked in the welding shop for 2 years, and then I talked to my boss and wanted to learn more about mechanics and working on small engines, and he moved me over there to get some experience in that, and I've been in there for 2 years.
Okay. Now, You've also taken victim awareness.
Yes, sir.
Several programs involving victim awareness.
Yes, sir.
And you spoke to me a little bit about maybe what those girls feel like. What did taking those classes tell you, or what did you learn from taking those classes about what your actions may have done to those girls, even the one that may have consented, even though she was too young to do so?
The way that I've seen it made people feel like back in that sexual class and them books, reading them books, and the way that made them girls feel, and having to see that and just feel what mostly they're going through. It just I couldn't imagine.
I see your mom and dad are here. Do you have other brothers and sisters? You have brothers and sisters?
Yes, sir. I have a younger brother and a younger sister.
Okay. How old is your sister?
20.
What do you think? How do you think you would feel if someone did something like that to your sister?
Horrible. I mean, it was like I wasn't there for her. I mean, I really don't. I'm just terrible.
Okay. Where will you live if you are released?
With my mom and dad.
And where do they live?
1170 Seymour Road, Baskin, Louisiana.
Okay. And do you have something lined up for work? I mean, you're working currently now, but you're working. Are you working outside of Franklin Parish, the prison, or are you working in the prison?
No, sir. I'm on compound.
Okay. Do you have something? Do you have a job lined up for you if you're able to get out?
Yes, sir. As soon as I get home, Miss Donna, I can't remember her last name, but she wants me to come to work with her for running a pecan orchard, driving tractors, and bush hogging and shaking the trees, and running the equipment and running the dryers and machines, and there's a bunch of stuff that can go on there. So I'll always be busy. So
okay. And I had another, hang on just a second. Let me see my notes. You indicated that it was difficult for you with the GED to be in the class with a lot of people because of your anxiety. Do you think that once you're released, you might be able to work in a less anxious setting to get your GED?
absolutely. If I can sit down a one-on-one, being by myself in a closed room where I can sit there and think and concentrate, yes, sir, absolutely.
Is there anything you'd like to say to maybe the victims in this case? They're not here, but what would you say if one of or both of those two girls were here? What would you tell them?
I'm very sorry for the actions I've made. I know it hurt. I know it took a lot off. I mean, it put a lot on your life. I mean, I know what I did. I know what I did was wrong. If I could go back and change it, I would.
Mr. Stein, you have law enforcement opposition. There's nothing you can do about that. I just want you to know that.
Yes, sir.
One of the victims is opposed to your release. Is someone there with you? Is a warden there? Is someone there with you? Someone there from the
No,
jail?
sir. Do I need to get somebody?
No. I was just going to see
Okay.
if someone was there to give us some comments on how you're doing. It sounds like you're doing really well. Thank you for answering my questions. Mr. Roche, you have questions?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman, briefly. Mr. Stein,
Yes, sir.
in 4 years of incarceration, you have done a marvelous job rehabilitating yourself. You've taken more programs in 4 years, and I've seen some taking 20, 25 years. You set out from the very beginning to rehabilitate yourself.
Yes,
And I
sir.
know you're nervous this morning. I just need to ask you one question. Do you have any disciplinary issues in your 4 years of incarceration?
No, sir.
Not one write-up.
No, sir.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Roche. I don't see any other questions. Ms. Teresa, we have a few speakers.
Yes, sir. Our first speaker will be Mr. Mark Steen, who is the father.
Hello. I would just like to say that Jacob has 100% support from his family. We'll be there for him. He has a place to live, safe, secure, with a job waiting on him. And I think he's learned from his mistakes. So his mother and I, aunt, uncles, we all are there for him if he needs us. And we're willing to do all we can.
Thank you, Mr. Stein. I appreciate your comments.
Next, we will hear from Miss Lacey, who's the mother.
Hi, I'm Lacey Stein, Jake's mother. I would just like to say that I think he's learned his lesson. He is a upstanding young man. He has grown into. We love him. He has all the family support that he could ever ask for. I think he is sorry for what he has done. I know that if he could go back and change things, he would. And we're here to support everything. Once he gets out, we're ready to take him under our wing again and support him in everything he wants to do.
Thank you very much, Ms. Stein. I believe that's all our speakers.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Stein, is there anything you'd like to say before we vote?
Well, I just want to say that I know what I did, and I know what I did was wrong. I know I hurt a lot of family and people that even my own. I've hurt my own. I've hurt myself. If I could go back and change it, I would. When I was 17, I was very immature and irresponsible, and if I could go back and change it, I would in a heartbeat. But I had to live with it and just go on from here and show that I can be a productive citizen and do my best.
Thank you, Mr. Stein. Is the panel
Yes, sir.
ready to vote?
Yes.
Mr. Stein, I'll go first since your case was assigned to me. I'd like to say that I really enjoyed the conversation with you. You're a fine young man. You've made some mistakes. People make mistakes. You obviously have a very good supportive family that loves you and wants you home with them. As Mr. Roche pointed out, you've taken more valuable programs at your young age, and that the only 4 years that you've been in prison than most people we see that have been in prison for 20 plus years. It's obvious to me that you are sincerely remorseful for what you did. It's clear to me that you understand what you did was wrong and why it was wrong.
Yes, sir.
And I'm pretty convinced that you're not going to do anything like that again. So my vote today would be to grant your parole with the following conditions. Number one, that you be on a curfew from 9 p.m. to 6 a.m. for at least the first 6 months. After that, your parole officer can change that if they wish to do so. I'd also like for you to get a mental health evaluation and follow whatever treatment and make sure that your medication that you're taking is the appropriate medication for you. And get a job. I think you got a job lined up for you. So that would be my vote today. So good luck to you.
Thank you.
Mr.
Thank you, sir.
Roche.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Stein, you it looks like you're a fine young man.
Appreciate it.
You have your whole life ahead of you. Developing a career, establishing a family, and you have a very supportive family. Your parents are going to support you any way possible.
Yes, sir.
I want to just warn you, because I don't want to ever see you back in that chair again. You will have a stringent requirements as far as your sex offender registration is concerned.
Yes, sir.
I want you to be very careful and follow all requirements of that sex offender registration. This victim was under the age of 14, am I correct?
Yes, sir.
And you'll probably have a lifetime registration that requires you to go to the law enforcement agency in your jurisdiction and register each and every year and keep them apprised of your current address.
Yes, sir.
You won't be able to live next door or within 2 or 3 miles of a school, a playground, a daycare center, or any place that caters to children or juveniles.
Yes, sir.
I don't want you to get caught in a trap where you don't know regulations.
Right.
Read those regulations carefully, because that is the quickest way to be reincarcerated.
Yes, sir.
Because failure to register as a sex offender is a felony.
All right.
Being in the company of minor children or juveniles is not allowed
Yes, sir.
unless you get permission from your parole officer. And he has to get permission from the parole board. My vote is to grant under the same conditions and for the same reasons as Mr. Marabella. But I wanted to put it on your mind, put it on your agenda. You'll be a sex offender. You have to register. Please follow all requirements of that registration.
Yes, sir.
I don't want to ever see you in that chair again. Good luck, young man.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Roche. Ms. Wise?
Thank you, Mr. Marabella. Mr. Jacobs, your life is forever changed.
Yes, ma'am.
But you are blessed because you do have parents. I heard your parents say they're here to do all they can do to help.
Yes, ma'am.
So many guys get out of jail. The registration may cost upwards of $500-600. Your
Okay.
parents already got the money. You don't have to worry about that.
Right.
Counseling may call. You got the money. You have to worry about that. So
Yes,
hold
ma'am.
your head up high. But your life is forever changed.
Yes,
But
ma'am.
hold your head up high. You own it. You did it, and you just going forward.
Yes,
And
ma'am.
you're reminding yourself of that.
Yeah, I will.
The picture's gonna be in the paper. People gonna say things. Hold your head up high. That was you then. This is me now.
Right. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And if you need counseling, if you need to talk to somebody, let your parents know.
I will.
Don't hide it. Let them know.
I will.
I concur with my colleagues. My vote is the same for the same reasons. I concur with all the special conditions. I wish you well.
Thank you, ma'am.
Mr. Stein, your
Yes, sir.
parole, you have 3 votes to grant your parole. Your parole has been granted with the conditions as outlined, and please heed the advice of both Ms. Roche and Mr. Roche and Ms. Wise about your sex offender registration. Make sure you keep up with all of that stuff, because you certainly don't want to find yourself back in trouble for not having followed some technical rule that you're required to do, okay?
Right. Right. Yes, sir.
Good luck. Good luck
Thank-
to you, sir.
Thank y'all.
You're welcome.
Thank you a lot.
I'm glad Mr. Roche got to the bottom line of how old this girl was, because it's funny. I find myself thinking, okay, he's 17, she's 15, she's under the age of 14. That makes her 13 years old at best. I don't know. I read the comments. I see some people seem to be, who say, well, some 13-year-olds grow up faster than others. And they'll say, I was one of them. I just don't have those. I don't get it. They're not justifying it when they say that, but they're saying it's have some understanding about how his situation might be different. And I remember when I was 17, the age difference was so significant. Like, even to be 1 year less, it was like, were they cool enough to hang out with you? That's just at least my experience. And the idea that he would start, the way he explained it, they started hanging out and they started, it's like, you're 17, dude. Like, what? That doesn't, it doesn't make sense. And, you might say that this is the Chris Hansen has the different categories of offenders. And we saw the worst kind of offenders today. And then, you get down to different offenders, some where the age is kind of close, or others where, they're just impulsive, but they don't have a tendency to chase kids. They've never thought about a kid before, but there's the opposite. So do it. And then, he's, the type where maybe he just, it's the only type of females he can hang out with that would think he's cool. And that's where he spent his time. And then you find out there's a second, and he forced himself on her. And he didn't seem to be able to articulate. And the board kept trying and trying and trying to help him articulate what they must have gone through. And he might have taken all those programs and done all those things, but it still didn't seem to me that he had any ability to articulate it. It was like, I mean, from their how about, like, just saying what it did to them? He just didn't seem to grasp that. What would you have done differently? I would have never picked her up. And he's talking about the girl he forced himself on, who was not underage. And it's like, what does that even mean? You should have never picked her up. That's like a horrible answer. Why not? Why couldn't you have picked her up and just not forced yourself on her? It doesn't make sense. The worst part is I thought, for when Mr. O'Shea said, how many write-ups do you have? And I was like, please tell me you have at least a few write-ups. Because when he said no, I'm like, oh, for me, that's like a negative sign. If you have no write-ups, it's an indicator that maybe you are a cockroach. but he is still out. We haven't seen him again. He is probably the least crazy enough with all the things we've seen, the least, maybe he is a low risk of offending, and he's not, I don't know. You tell me, you guys tell me. I like his tears seemed genuine to me. It didn't seem roach like, and you might say he seemed like a good kid in a sense, but then you come back to him having 2 offenses against, and it's just, but anyways, you tell me. We've been here quite some time. I thank you for that. And I guess what you can say is, look, he had his sentence. It was an 8-year sentence, and you can't keep him locked up. Like, you can let him out on parole or keep him locked up for the whole 8 years. And if anyone should get out, I guess it'd be someone who, whatever. It's he is the least threatening of that we have seen in quite some while under this category, especially with 2 offenses. That's just my opinion, and love to hear yours in the comment section. But with that, I will finally let you go.